Hey, you. Ever have a memory that feels absolutely solid, like it's etched in stone?
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out, well, it never actually happened that way.
Yeah, it's a really strange sensation.
It's a bizarre feeling, isn't it? We're diving deep into that exact phenomenon today.
And it's a phenomenon with a name that's actually become quite well known, the Mandela effect.
Right, the Mandela effect.
This refers to those instances where, a large group of people all somehow share the same false memory about something in the past.
Exactly. And the term itself, it comes from a really powerful example, doesn't it?
It does.
Think back. Do you personally have a clear recollection of Nelson Mandela dying in prison, maybe sometime in the 1980s?
Yeah, maybe a sense of the news coverage, the world reacting.
That's the very shared false memory that Fiona Broome, who coined the term, experienced along with many others.
And the truly striking part, I think, is that Nelson Mandela was actually released from prison in 1990.
Right, and lived until 2013.
Exactly. It's that stark contrast, that widely held memory of something that didn't happen when people remember, that really sparked the initial curiosity around this whole thing.
So our mission in this deep dive is basically to explore some of the most fascinating and widespread examples of the Mandela effect.
hmm
We want to understand what these shared false memories are, maybe delve into some of the leading psychological explanations for them.
And maybe even touch on some of the more, let's say, unconventional ideas that have been proposed.
Definitely. Ready to unravel some collective memory mysteries.
Absolutely. Let's start with that example that gave the phenomenon its name, the Nelson Mandela memory.
Okay.
What's particularly interesting here, you see, isn't just the general feeling he died in prison. It's the specific details some people recall,
Like what?
like vivid memories of specific news reports, even remembering watching his funeral on TV back then.
Wow. That detailed.
Yeah. It really makes you consider how these detailed shared narratives can just arise around events that didn't actually unfold as remembered.
It's genuinely mind-boggling when you think about it. So many people with these strong, almost tangible recollections
Uh-huh.
of something that simply didn't occur at the time. It really does make you question how reliable our collective memory can be.
Definitely.
Okay, so that's the cornerstone example. What's another one that frequently comes up when people talk about the Mandela effect?
Okay, another very, very prevalent example centers on a childhood favorite for many, the Berenstain Bears.
Ah, yes, I think I know where this is going.
A significant number of people distinctly remember the name being spelled Berenstain Bears with an E.
It does feel more natural that way. Berenstain. Why is that?
Well, that feeling of naturalness likely stems from how our brains process patterns. The suffix ein, E-I-N, is far more common.
Right, like Einstein.
Exactly. More common in English and Germanic names than ein,
Mm.
A-I-N. So your brain, which is constantly seeking familiar structures,
It just sort of autocorrects.
kind of, it might subconsciously correct the slightly less common spelling to something it encounters more often. It's a subtle example of how our built-in pattern recognition can sometimes lead our memory astray just by favoring more readily available forms.
That's fascinating. Our brain's taking a shortcut based on familiarity. Okay, shifting gears a bit into pop culture. Let's talk about a movie line that's become legendary,
hmm
even if it's often misquoted. Luke, I am your father.
Ah, yes. A truly iconic moment in cinematic history, and one that a vast number of people remember hearing uttered exactly like that. In Star Wars.
But that's not the actual line Darth Vader delivers, is it?
That's correct. The actual line is, "No, I am your father."
No, I am your father.
Huh. What's particularly revealing here is how this misquote has become so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness.
It's everywhere, isn't it?
It really is. It's constantly referenced and repeated in parodies, memes, everyday conversation. This repeated exposure to the incorrect version likely plays a huge role in overwriting the original memory for many people.
So the repetition basically cements the wrong version.
Exactly. It really highlights the power of cultural transmission in shaping what we remember, even if it's, well, inaccurate.
It's almost as if the popular misquote becomes the accepted reality for so many. Okay, let's delve into one that always sparks a lot of debate online. The supposed Sinbad genie movie.
Shazam!
Yes, Shazam.
This is a really intriguing one because the certainty with which people recall this film is often quite remarkable.
They remember details, right?
Oh, yeah. They describe it as a family movie from the 90s, starring the comedian Sinbad as a genie. Very specific.
And the surprising part for many is, Well, that no such movie ever actually existed.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Zero record of it. The confusion here likely arises from a combination of factors.
Like what?
Firstly, there was a 1996 movie called Kazam,
Right. The Shack one.
the Shaq one exactly, which did feature a genie. Secondly, Sinbad himself was known to sometimes wear, genie-like attire during some of his stand-up specials or TV appearances back then.
Ah, okay. So you've got Shaq as a genie in one movie, Sinbad dressed like a genie sometimes.
And it seems these separate, real elements may have just sort of coalesced in people's minds to create a memory of a specific movie that never actually happened.
Like the brain piecing together related fragments.
Exactly.
Ah.
To form a complete, albeit fictional, narrative.
It's like our minds are taking these bits and pieces and constructing a story that never played out on screen.
Okay, here's another one that feels almost universally misremembered. The Monopoly Man.
Rich Uncle Pennybags.
That's him.
And his monocle.
Oh, yes, the instantly recognizable mascot of Monopoly. He's often pictured in our minds as, portly gentleman, top hat, mustache, and a monocle.
But wait for it. He's never actually had a monocle in the official imagery, has he?
That's right, never. Not in any official branding.
So why do we all think he has one?
Well, the prevalence of this false memory likely stems from an association with other similar characters. Most notably, Mr. Peanut.
Ah, the planter's guy. He has one.
He famously wears a monocle and shares that same kind of, wealthy, old-fashioned persona.
So our brains just lump them together.
It's as if our brains are making a visual shortcut based on shared stereotypical traits. Wealthy cartoon character mascot must have a monocle. Something like that.
It's almost like our brains are saying, wealthy character from that era must have a monocle.
Right. Okay, let's transport ourselves to the world of fairy tales. Snow White. The evil queen's iconic question to the mirror.
Okay.
What do you remember her saying?
Well, the line that most people recall, I think, is, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?"
Sounds right. It has that rhythm.
It does. It has a certain dramatic quality. It sounds very memorable.
But the actual line is slightly different, isn't it?
Indeed. The original line is, "Magic mirror on the wall."
Magic mirror.
Ah.
The inclusion of the word magic is the key distinction. And again, the more common, perhaps more impactful sounding version
The mirror, mirror version.
has been popularized through countless retellings, adaptations, parodies, effectively supplanting the original in our collective memory.
It's another example of how a slightly altered version can just become the dominant one over time.
Precisely.
It's like these catchier, slightly changed versions become the definitive ones in our minds. Okay, let's switch gears now to a more modern icon. Pikachu.
Okay, Pokemon.
What detail do you picture at the very end of his bright yellow tail?
Many people vividly remember Pikachu having a black tip on its tail,
Right.
like a little black marking at the end.
Seems right. Distinctive. But in reality,
Pikachu's tail has always been entirely yellow.
no black tip.
No black tip. The black is only present on the tips of his ears.
Ah, okay.
This is a prime example, really, of how our brains can make assumptions based on similar visual cues within the same character design.
So you see black on the ears.
And we subconsciously extend that pattern to another prominent feature, the tail, even if it's not actually there.
It's a small detail, but one that surprises a lot of people. Now, this next one is a bit different. It involves geography.
Okay.
Let's talk about New Zealand. Where do you generally picture it in relation to Australia?
The common misconception, and therefore the Mandela effect in this case, is that New Zealand is located northeast of Australia.
Northeast.
Many
Oh.
people hold this as a clear and certain geographical memory, like they know it's there.
But its actual location is?
Southeast of Australia, quite distinctly southeast.
Southeast. Wow.
This particular example is quite fascinating because misremembering geography with such conviction feels, well, less typical than misremembering details from movies or books.
Right. It's not like a quote or a logo. It's a whole country's location.
Exactly. And it's this unusual nature that has contributed to some of the more fringe theories attempting to explain the Mandela effect. Why would so many people share this specific geographical error with such certainty?
It definitely makes you wonder what might lead to such a widespread geographical misremembering. Okay, let's bring it back to something more mundane. Think about the spelling of the air freshener Febreze.
Okay. Febreze.
How do you instinctively want to spell that? With one E at the end or two?
Ah. A very common misremembering is Febreze, with two E's at the end, like the word breeze.
But the correct spelling is with just one E, right? Febreze.
Exactly, Febreze. The reason for this is likely the very common English word breeze.
Makes sense.
Your brain sees Febreze and naturally wants to complete it with a familiar and frequently encountered spelling pattern. It's another clear instance of our linguistic expectations influencing our memory of something slightly less conventional.
It's remarkable how often these memory quirks come down to our brains trying to make sense of things based on patterns we already know. And finally, let's consider a classic cartoon series.
Right.
Do you remember it being called Looney Tunes, spelled Toons, like the word cartoons?
That's a very intuitive way to remember it, isn't it? And common. Given the animated content of the show, tunes seems to fit perfectly with cartoons.
But the actual spelling is.
Looney Tunes. Tunes, referencing musical compositions, tunes. Like silly symphonies from Disney, maybe.
Ah, tunes, like music.
Exactly. The confusion arises because of the strong and obvious association with animated cartoons. Your brain makes a logical connection based on the visual medium.
Even though the original intention was a play on words related to music.
Precisely.
So we've explored a wide range of these fascinating examples, haven't we? From, significant world events to the spelling of everyday products.
Yeah, it's clear this phenomenon touches many different aspects of our memory.
So what are the generally accepted sort of scientific explanations for why these Mandela effects occur?
Well, at its core, the Mandela effect is largely understood through the lens of the fallibility of human memory. It's really crucial to remember that memory isn't like a perfect video recording.
Right, it's not playback.
It's a reconstructive process, and therefore it's susceptible to errors. False memories, where we recall events that didn't happen or remember them differently from reality, are a well-established area of psychological research.
And how does the concept of confabulation fit into this picture? Is that related?
Very much so. Confabulation refers to the brain's natural tendency to fill in gaps in our memory. When we can't quite recall something accurately, our brains might inadvertently create details or even entire scenarios to make the memory feel complete and coherent.
So it's trying to make sense of things.
Exactly. In the context of the Mandela effect, if we have a vague recollection or maybe we've heard others discuss something in a particular way, our brain might fill in the missing pieces with information that wasn't actually part of the original event. It's the brain striving for a consistent narrative.
So it's like our brains are actively trying to create a cohesive story, even if some of the details are unintentionally fabricated along the way.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what role do other people and shared information play in all of this? Does talking about it make it worse or stronger?
That's where the concept of social reinforcement becomes really important. When a group of people share a similar false memory and they discuss it,
Like online, maybe?
especially online, yes, this collective agreement can significantly strengthen the conviction in each individual's mind. The more we hear others validating our misremembered details, especially in online spaces where these discussions often thrive, the more real that false memory can feel. Media portrayals, even if they're also inaccurate, can also contribute significantly to this reinforcement loop.
So the shared belief reinforces the individual memory, regardless of its accuracy.
You got it. It's like a feedback cycle.
It's like a feedback cycle where the shared belief solidifies the individual memory, even if it originated from a misunderstanding. Okay. Now, we have touched on the scientific explanations, but it's impossible to ignore the more, unconventional theories that often circulate regarding the Mandela effect.
Indeed. While psychological explanations offer a pretty robust framework for understanding these phenomena, the widespread nature and sometimes the very specific details of these shared false memories have led some people to explore more speculative ideas as well.
Such as the popular theory of parallel universes. That comes up a lot.
Yes. The parallel universes theory suggests that these conflicting memories might be glimpses or maybe bleed-throughs from alternate realities where events unfolded differently.
So in another universe.
Right. In one universe, perhaps Nelson Mandela did die in prison in the 1980s, or the Berenstain Bears was indeed the correct spelling. It proposes that we might be experiencing faint echoes of these different timelines in our memories.
And then there's the idea involving time travel, potential alterations to the past.
Exactly. This theory suggests that changes made in the past, whether intentional or accidental, could have subtly altered the present timeline, leading to discrepancies between our memories of a previous version of reality and the current one we're in.
It's crucial to emphasize, though, that these remain highly speculative theories. There's no scientific evidence, right?
Absolutely. Zero scientific evidence.
Mm.
While they definitely capture the imagination and offer intriguing possibilities for discussion, they currently exist firmly outside the realm of mainstream scientific understanding.
Okay. So, regardless of the underlying cause, whether it's these fascinating quirks of our memory or something a bit more out there,
Hmm.
the Mandela effect has definitely left its mark on society and popular culture.
It certainly has. The internet, as we mentioned, has played a pivotal role in amplifying awareness of this phenomenon. It acts as a central hub for people to discover that they share these seemingly bizarre memories with others.
You see whole forums dedicated to it.
Absolutely. Online communities dedicated to discussing the Mandela effect have sprung up, where people share new examples they've noticed and debate all the various potential explanations.
And it's definitely woven its way into pop culture itself, hasn't it? You see references to it in TV shows, books, online content.
For sure. It's become a kind of shorthand for this phenomenon of widespread misremembering.
Yeah.
And, it raises some really interesting questions about the nature of reality itself, the inherent reliability or maybe unreliability of our own minds, and the powerful influence of collective belief in shaping our understanding of the past.
So, to bring our deep dive to a close, we've journeyed through the intriguing world of the Mandela effect.
We have.
We've examined some of the most compelling and widely recognized examples, from Nelson Mandela to the Berenstain Bears, or Berenstein Bears, depending on who you ask.
Right, and we've explored both the well-supported psychological explanations, false memory, confabulation, social reinforcement,
And the more imaginative theories involving alternate timelines and the like.
and ultimately whether these shared false memories are a testament to the fascinating ways our minds can sometimes play tricks on us, or perhaps something hinting at a more complex and interconnected reality. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the Mandela effect serves as a potent reminder, I think, of the fallibility of human memory.
And the profound impact of shared experiences and information on what we believe to be true.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And on that note, you, our listener, might find it fascinating to take a moment and reflect on some of your own seemingly unshakable memories.
Hmm.
Are there any that, upon closer examination, might align with some of these known Mandela effects? It's a curious avenue for personal reflection, isn't it?
It really is.
Until our next deep dive, keep those memories in perspective.